So the Chamber really strives to make Memphis greater. We ended last year with 10 projects that led to over 3,000 jobs and $2.2 billion in capital investment. Can you give a round of applause for that?
Absolutely.
So what does that mean for small businesses? Once those companies are attracted to Memphis, for small businesses, that means that's an opportunity for you all to go after those companies for business. They need all types of services. So we want to do that. And this year, we have around 40 projects in the pipeline. So our team is working feverishly to bring those to the finish line. So when you invest in the Greater Memphis Chamber, you're investing in the work that we do to impact our city. So those of you who are members, thank you. And those of you who are not yet, we do have individuals here from the Chamber who can answer any questions for you. And speaking of hard work, we have our Small Business Council think tank in the room. Those of you who are on the think tank, could you raise your hands, please? Give them a round of applause. This group works tirelessly to look and see what those needs of small businesses are, and those needs are ever changing. So how can they best serve you? And so we talk about that monthly, but our co-chairs, Larry Robinson and Meredith Hennessy, we meet weekly to talk about, okay, how can we dive in a little deeper? So we thank you all for your leadership. And now I want to bring up our host individual, that's Phil Dotson with Junior Achievement. He's going to share a little bit about their organization. We thank them so much for the use of this beautiful space, and he's going to talk about how they move the needle for Memphis as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Patricia. Yeah, the two mic situation is interesting. Yes. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Phil Dotson. I am the Senior Director of Corporate Partnerships and Government Relations for Junior Achievement of Memphis and the Mid-South. You are in the Experiential Learning Center, the Wayne Experiential Learning Center. Let me clear that up. And for those of you who do not know, Junior Achievement, we are a K through 12 nonprofit organization that provides financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship training for children K through 12. And so our mission is to make sure that every child is world ready. So what that means is we will serve over 40,000 students this year. We cover 71 counties in Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas. And with our programming and our curriculum, it's age-based, and we teach young people about the world. And so as we talk about this extremely important word and phrase called workforce development, as we talk about that extremely important word called workforce development, that starts when kids are young. It just doesn't start as we're adults. You all are successful business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs, CFOs, all those wonderful titles that has enabled you guys to be successful in your life. We have so many young people that don't have those examples. And so it's important for us to work as a cohesive ecosystem to provide those opportunities to young people. So I challenge you all today. As a matter of fact, we have 2 schools in the building. We've got Christian Academy, and we've also got Woodland Middle School. And so those 5th and 6th graders are going through our simulation space right now, and they're learning how to run a town. You've got CEOs in the building. You've got CFOs in the building. You've got human resource officers in the building. And then you've also got a mayor that was elected to run BizTown. And so it is, when I tell you the action is happening right now across that wall, it's really going on. And so I challenge you all, if you would love to share and help mold the future and help make Memphis better, visit our website at jamemphis.org. Volunteer, sign up for a career speaker, volunteer to take part in JA in a day. You can have your employees come out and take part in our programming and just share your story and what it takes to be successful and show our young people. But remember this, our young people have to see it to be it. And that's a real word. They've got to see it to understand what it is and see it so they can understand that they can be it. And so we want to impart on you all. There's flyers on the table in front of the young ladies when you first come in, so make sure you grab one. But check us out. I do want to introduce our Chief Operating Officer, who's the man he's on jump mode right now, so he's probably freaking out about this mic. But hey, Steve French. Say hello, Steve French. But Lee Mansberg is our president and CEO, and she is pulling double duty today. She would love to be here with you all. But we are extremely excited to partner with SOE and the Chamber of Commerce, the fantastic partners in this work of economic development, workforce development in the early age for young people. If I can be of any assistance to you, please see me. I would love to partner with you to create a better future for Memphis and for our community as a whole. Thank you so much. Enjoy your lunch. Enjoy your time here. Pearson, thank you so much. Patricia, thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. And speaking of the partnership with Society of Entrepreneurs, Pearson, everybody knows you, but just wave your hand wherever you are. Yes, because of Pearson, we are able to bring the best speakers so that small business leaders can glean from them. So thank you so much for this partnership. And now, without further ado, we want to bring up our sponsors. They fuel the Small Business Council programming. So Independent Bank, as well as Wyatt Tarrant and Combs. So first up will be Jeff Kimbrough. And following Jeff will be Mike Lewisinski with Wyatt Tarrant and Combs.
Okay.
Two-fisted.
That's what I call double-fisted right there. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jeff Kimbrough, Independent Bank, Senior VP of our Economic Development, Growth and Empowerment, our Edge Banking Program. I'm sorry, can you hear me? Okay. All right. So, again, thank you all for joining us today. Glad to see this is a beautiful space. So thank you for having us here. Independent Bank is a locally owned institution here in the Memphis area. Of course, headquartered here, so we'd like to support other community partners as well. Definitely here and glad to see our good partners, Stepherson's and Superlow. So again, thank you all for being here. If there's anything we can do, we do have a few bankers here in the space. If you will, raise your hand. So if there's anything that we can do to help service you and your company, as well as your staff, let's connect. Be glad to get with you.
A commercial. Our bank has been really good to Stepherson's.
Yeah, all right.
They really helped us out.
And Stevenson's has been really good to our bank.
Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Luzinski. I'm a partner at Wyatt Tarrant & Combs. We are a full-service law firm, which means we can do anything for you unless it's family law or criminal law. So if you need anything, let us know. I'm excited to be here because my son in a couple of weeks will be going through BizTown. And we were talking about what positions he should be, and it ran the gamut from waiter to CEO to mayor. So he's taking them all, and his class is super excited. So I'm happy to be here, and we're happy to be a sponsor of the Small Business Council. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And we also have Cigna Healthcare. So if you look at your agenda, you'll see a QR code. So you can check out the health savings that they offer. Now we will jump into masterclass. So leading our masterclass session is co-chair of the Small Business Council, Larry Robinson, and leading will be our wonderful leader of Superlow, Mr. Randy Stepherson. You're making me nervous. So much greatness in the room. So
Now you're making me nervous.
So without further ado, class is in session.
All right, all right. How's everybody today? Good, good, good. Well, you know, in Memphis, we got kings. You know, we got that southern drawl, got to be a king instead of a king. But we got kings. And when I say kings, I mean we have everybody from Elvis. We have Jerry Lawler. We have Kimmons Wilson, who's the king of hotels. We have, we just got a lot of kings. But today, we have another king. We got the king of community-centered grocery business. So, Randy Stepherson wears that crown for us. From his family humble start on Macon Road to building a local empire with Super Low, Randy hasn't just stocked shelves, he stocked opportunity. And in 2010, he flipped the game, turning his company into an employee-owned business. That ain't just entrepreneurship, that's legacy leadership. He's chaired boards, support our Memphis Police Foundation, and when he's not running stores, he's riding strong with the Memphis Hightailers, a cycling group. So show the man some love, who turned grocery aisles into pathways to ownership, Mr. Randy Stepherson.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Randy, we're gonna jump right on in. And you've heard all the accolades, we know the legacy, but today we're going beyond the grocery aisle. We're getting into shelf life of ownership, the kind that builds wealth and community at the same time. Randy, take us back, not to the resume version or the LinkedIn version, but to the real story. What pulled you into business, and when did you realize this wasn't just about groceries, it was about giving your team a piece of the dream?
What pulled me in? Well, I grew up in it.
Really?
So, and I tell people sometimes that I wasn't bright enough to run. So I grew up in the grocery business, stocking shelves, checking out groceries.
So they can hear you.
Oh, I thought,
This is for video.
gotcha. Checking out groceries and worked in the grocery business through high school and college. I graduated with an accounting degree, and my dad had lost his lease at Poplar Perkins. And I wasn't sure there was a place for me, so I went to work for a local CPA firm and did that for a couple of years, 2.5 years. Okay. My dad was able to acquire the lease A&P had down at Poplar and Colonial, just couple blocks away. Mm-hmm. It was an old beat up rundown store, but it kept him in business. And after 2.5 years, he had a butcher quit. Mm-hmm. And I quit my CPA job and
became the butcher,
which I had done through college. Butchering was the best paying job in the grocery store, still is. Okay. So from there, that was 1976. Okay. He sent Bob Reed, my partner, and I over to one of our Macon Road store, which was struggling. Mm-hmm. And we just worked it hard, and it slowly came up and developed. I then came over and we built our store on Spotswood, which we still have today. We had a 50-year lease. We're down to 6 years. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we can fix that. Wow. But yeah, we've been there 44 years in that location. I came over and managed that store till 2000. Okay. And in 2000, my dad retired in 98, at the end of 98, and a year later, we were negotiating to purchase the mega market on Covington Pike. The mega markets were owned by a company called Jitney Jungle Stores of America out of Jackson, Mississippi. Okay. And they were in bankruptcy. So we were able to purchase that store and had a very scary first year. We lost $1 million running that store in that first year. Mostly front-loaded, and then at the end of the year and into the second year, we were breaking it even. Okay. Then we had an opportunity to buy the Piggly Wiggly that was in on Watkins, North Watkins, and then Malone and Hyde, actually Fleming Foods, who had purchased Malone and Hyde, Pitt Hyde's old company, right. Went bankrupt. They were our main supplier. And we struggled. We found a new supplier out of Alabama, but then in the fall of that year, Associated Wholesale Grocers, which is a cooperative, purchased Fleming's Memphis facilities, which were actually in South Haven, and we became a member of AWG, and we've grown since then.
Right.
So.
Right. Now, you could have stayed the traditional route, but something had to shift. Some way you had to see something to say, I need to make this more sustainable, because it obviously seems like it's been ebbing and flowing throughout the career at this point. What shifted? What made you say we need to become employee-owned in order to make it sustainable?
Well, our family business had been involved with a grocery share group, supported by the National Grocers Association. And we had seen several other grocers around the country become ESOPs. And it works well in incentivizing the employees, not all employees. I mean, especially in our business, we've got a lot of part-timers that turn. They're not going to stay long. They're just looking for a few bucks now.
Right.
But your full-timers, your long-termers, it incentivizes them. It's up to them to make sure that part-timers are on board. So we in 2010, we sold 30% of our company to the ESOP. And so our employees were now collecting some ESOP credits.
Right.
And it slowly built. It doesn't work right at first. They don't know what to think of it. I'm an owner. Where's my car? But they do. They begin to see as they get credits, and they get a statement at the end of the first year that says you own 700 shares, and here's the value. And the next year you own 1,400 shares, and they're worth $1 more than a share than they were last year. Mm-hmm. It begins to work, and they become a little incentivized. Now, in all honesty, it's not simply a matter of giving to the employees. The ESOP buys it from you.
Okay.
So it's an exit plan, both an exit plan and a
sustainability?
Yeah. Is anybody from the Cecil's organization here? I didn't want to upset Art, because I respect him and his family a lot. They ran great grocery stores. But when he sold out his business to Bruno's, headquartered in Birmingham, and then they had a tragic plane crash and killed all their top executives, and Bruno's sold to Albertsons. And that was the kiss of death for their stores. Bruno's allowed Cecil's to be Cecil's.
Right.
And the family was still running the business.
Right.
But Albertsons came in, and they had to be Albertsons. They put their stamp on it, and even though they called them Cecil's by Albertsons, they carried Albertsons brands. Cecil's had to get rid of all the special things they did. And then, of course, Schnucks bought them. But they were Schnucks at that point. And then Schnucks decided they couldn't make it either in Memphis. And Kroger bought them. The Cecil's name is gone. The employees had to go through 3 changes of ownership, and every time they have to reapply for their jobs. And we didn't want that to happen. We wanted our employees to have a home. We wanted some continuity, and that's was the reasoning behind the ESOP. Now, in 2020, we formed a 90% ESOP, and the family only retained 10% value. Today, we have zero. It's 100% ESOP. So the business is still run by the family.
Right.
Being an ESOP and having your employees empowered doesn't create people who know how to run a business. They might.
See if you try that one. See if that doesn't work out.
Okay,
There you go.
there, that's working, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, see if I can slip that in there.
All right.
So you still have to have somebody that understands finances that iBank will deal with. When we first did the ESOP, Tom Stevenson looked at me and said, "You know, we loan you money." And I said, "I understand. We're still around. I am totally out of day-to-day operations. I am the chairman of the board."
Okay.
So
Now,
they have to run things past me, but I don't want to know about all the little things happening.
right. So you got a lot of people in the room that are running businesses, from small businesses to tech shops. So employee ownership, does it light a fire under innovation, no matter what the industry is? What's been the impact that you've experienced?
I can't say that it lights a fire under innovation. It motivates the employees, or again, your key employees, your store managers, your department heads, your longtime full-time employees. They feel the sense of stake that this is mine.
Right.
We're working for ourselves. So yes, it can work in any industry. In fact, I would think it might be better in other industries than the grocery industry. I mean, we're not a group of professionals.
Right.
Many of our employees don't even have a high school education.
Okay.
A lot of them would never. I mean, if I tried to make them a department head, they would decline because they don't want the responsibility. They want to come in, they want to work their hours, they want to go home, and they want to be left alone.
Right.
But then it does motivate those who do want to move ahead and grow.
Right.
As I was telling you earlier, the gentleman who is now supervising all of our local operations was a store manager for us at our Spotswood store, and he was promoted to supervisor for operations in the Memphis area. Now, we have 3 stores in the Savannah, Tennessee area, and after this weekend, we will own 2 more stores in the Mississippi area.
Okay. Now we've all had those hold on tight moments, like, whether it's due to tariffs, whether it's, just supply chain drama, economic curveballs. How did employee owned help you weather some of those just societal ebbs and flows?
Well, we had a lot of ebbs and flows. I don't remember what date in 20. It was sometime in early March
yeah.
when
That was a heck of a ebb.
when everything hit the fan.
Right.
And suddenly they're closing businesses and telling people to go home. They're telling us, you're an essential industry, you have to be open. And of course, our employees were scared to death of catching COVID. Although we learned pretty quickly that it wasn't near as bad as they said it was, because we went a long ways before anybody caught COVID. And then they caught it from home, not from running that cash register in the grocery store.
Right.
But yeah, again, they had a stake in it. It wasn't just a job that they'd go, I'm going to walk away. I'm going home. I'm not coming back. Having that stake in it, I think it helped them stay on the job.
Was that one of those moments that you may have looked at and said, you know, if it wasn't for employee owned, this might have sunk us. There may not be a super low. Has there ever been one of those moments?
No, I never thought that.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, you know, I don't think employee-owned guarantees your longevity. You still have to have some leadership. You have to have somebody managing the finances and making good decisions. Excuse me. That doesn't go away. Of course, we're now going to have 2 more stores worth in Mississippi of ESOP members.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. You got some folks taking notes and thinking maybe this could work for us. Let's talk brass tacks. What's the first step a business owner needs to take, even if they're considering an ESOP?
Well, we contacted Kelly Fennell, who owns a company in Memphis called Executive Financial Services. But Kelly is probably one of the foremost ESOP knowledgeable people in the country. He wrote a book called The ESOP Coach. So we went to Kelly, and that's really all Kelly does is help companies become ESOPs. And he guided us through that first ESOP, which was fairly simple. When we did the 90%, thanks to the Department of Labor, it had become much more complicated. You got more rules, more regulations, more hoops to jump through. So it's going to cost you some money. We spent probably $120,000. We had to hire Kelly, but then he helped us to hire a trustee, and then you have to have the trustee holds the shares in trust and votes them for the ESOP members. Then we had to hire an appraisal company who appraises the company every year and puts a value on it. And then we had to hire an attorney who was ESOP savvy.
Okay.
And we still use him. He's headquartered in Nashville. We basically just talk on the phone and email. So he can help guide you through issues that arise. Then there was a whole lot of work of pulling together financial statements and leases and legal issues that had to be worked out. So how do you get started? Call Kelly.
Kelly, the ESOP coach.
He knows it.
What other little things should a person keep in mind or a business keep in mind if they're considering applying into this area?
Well, we viewed it as an exit strategy for my partner Bob and I. I'm 72, I'll be 73 in a couple months. Bob is 77. And we viewed it as an exit strategy for us that allowed our company to continue to be our company for our employees, that they didn't have to get absorbed by some big outside group.
Right.
And, you know, all too often I've seen too many family businesses disintegrate.
Right.
You know, I have 3 children. 1 is involved in the business. Bob had 2 children. 1 is involved in the business. So you don't just want to give the company to one child and cut your other children out of any possible inheritance.
Right.
You can't give it to all of them because the ones that haven't been involved will come marching in, and 1, they want their cut, and 2, they hadn't been in the business. They don't know what they're doing.
Right.
They might be smart kids, but they don't know the business. I watched one business go down when Dad died, and the son who had been involved, all the children inherited, and the next thing you know, one daughter's married to a lawyer who business was gone.
You're kind of, this is almost like, it sounds like you're transitioning a company while you're actually managing the day-to-day basis of it. It's almost like you're driving and changing the tire at the same time.
Well, yeah, sort of. Well, we're hoping it gives us run flats.
Right.
So we don't have to change the tire right away anyway.
Right.
That would be true. I'm not involved in day-to-day any longer. 2 months after we got all the paperwork done on the final ESOP, I had a bad accident and was not able to work for several months. And then my eyes blew up on me, and I can't read a computer screen and look at paper, and so I still got my brain, but it makes it harder to operate. So I have been retired from day to day. I'm chairman of the board. I serve on a couple other boards in the industry, and they're running it. My son and my niece, and they're working for a man that we hired who is president of the company. So we have an outsider running the company. We have Bob Reed and myself and an outside member constitute the board. Mm-hmm. The trustee insisted on an outside board member. We couldn't use iBank because we do business with them. It had to be outside, so we found a grocer in East Arkansas that we know well, and he serves on our board.
Got it. So let's talk about money. What's the financial upside of starting an ESOP?
An ESOP is a tax-exempt organization. So for federal tax purposes, you're tax-exempt. Now, you still have to pay state taxes, but there is no federal income tax if you're a sub-S or an LLC. If the ESOP owns that sub-S, then the taxes go, the revenue is owned by that ESOP. The ESOP would pay the taxes, but since they're tax exempt, they don't pay any taxes. Oh. So that money stays in the ESOP. Now the negative to an ESOP is that you're constantly buying back your shares from your employees as they retire or quit. It's very much like a 401k in that, you have to be 21, you have to work a year, then you got a 6-year vesting schedule. But once you're vested and then you quit, you have something that's yours. Right. Now, you don't get your money right away. You have to wait till the year's over, and then the auditor has to come in, and then the appraiser has to take the auditor's reports, and so it takes time, but those people have value.
Right.
So an ESOP is constantly buying back its shares, and we recycle those through the ESOP. so that they're not coming into treasury shares. And we know one ESOP headquartered in Springdale, Arkansas, about 10 miles from Walmart's headquarters. And they've got about 150 stores now. They've been in ESOP longer than we have.
150 stores.
When they started as an ESOP, they had maybe 20. But they just constantly growing, and you know they don't have to pay income tax.
Well, with an ESOP, how do you make decisions? Because if everybody has a voice at
They
the
don't.
table,
The trustee votes the shares.
oh,
The trustee doesn't want to run your business. And as long as you're running the business and it's doing well, they're going to leave you alone. So an ESOP is very much like a publicly traded company in that, I mean, you have a board of directors hires the president and oversees what the company is doing, just like you would with, like I say, a publicly traded company. You know, there's a downside. When you're privately held, I didn't worry how profitable this year was going to be. Not that we weren't always trying to be as profitable as we could, but if we went out and bought a store, and it took a couple years to get it up to speed, and it was acting as a brake on our profitability, okay, it's going to be a great investment long term. But you know, with ESOP, you get appraised every year. And we discovered while we were operating as a 30% ESOP, we had a couple of stores that we had acquired and were not being as profitable as they are now. So the appraisal took a hit. And you know, then your employees are upset. We went down in value. Why did you buy that store?
right.
Well, if you don't quit now, you're going to be great. Just stick with it. So it did introduce a little of America's quarter-to-quarter thinking that sometimes is not helpful for long-term health.
Now, how does that work when you're with, you know, being that technology is changing everything, AI is changing everything? Do you stay more nimble? Do you stay more innovative? Or does it pose a different set of challenges?
Well, technology has posed all kind of challenges. I don't think ESOP or not, that's going to be any different. We actually have 2 IT people on payroll now, where we didn't used to have any. You know, and we pay outside services to provide IT information to us. I don't think that impacts ESOP one way or another.
Has the company stayed more nimble, or has it gotten more nimble since the ESOP, or have you noticed any change as far as the view towards innovation and creativity?
Again, I don't think the ESOP it has a lot to do with innovation or creativity. It just causes your employees to be a little more loyal and concerned about how things are working. You've still got to have leadership, observing what's happening in the industry. And, you know, I will tell you that Kroger and Walmart are way ahead of us in technology.
Because?
Well, because they have money. They have the resources, Kroger in particular. I don't know how long ago they came out with their shopper card, their Kroger card.
Right.
It's been probably 20 years. And I thought they were out of their minds. You don't even reflect all your pricing on your shelf because you got to have the card. Or you tell your customer, well, it's 89 cents, but oh, you don't have a card, it's $1.29. That just didn't work in my brain. But what Kroger did is began to data mine what they had. Your customers are, now I know everything you're buying. And I know how to direct market to you, not him.
Right.
I can market to you. And they began doing that, and they're really good at it. They have invested immensely in their online ordering, which we do it, but we have to pay an outside service to help us do it. And they're not making money at it. It's costing them money to do it, but they have taken a piece of the business that's available and set it over here for themselves because they've got all that data and the systems. And I don't know that we'll ever compete with them in that way, although we try to stay as close as we can.
I got you. Have you ever been tripped up? You know, what's the hardest part about once you make this move?
Oh, I've been tripped up my whole life.
What's the hardest part then? What's the hardest, when you look back over the years, what's that one thing you think about like, I don't never want to go through that again?
I don't want to ever buy my first new store and lose $1 million.
Oh, I bet. Okay.
I had at that time, Spotswood was not as large as it is now. And our Macon Road store was the same size it is now, but volume was far lower. And we weren't making $1 million out of those two stores. So it put the fear in me.
It kept you up at night, huh?
Kept me up at night.
Oh, wow. All right, this is the last question, then we're going to open it up for some Q&A. Zoom out a little bit. Do you see this model, especially in today's time, catching on in other industries or catching fire in other industries, or is it still, too far ahead to tell at this point?
Oh, I think it is. One of the ESOPs that I'm very familiar with is called Houchins Industries. They're headquartered in Kentucky, just
okay.
north of Nashville, Greensburg or Borough.
Okay.
Anyway, they own maybe a couple hundred grocery stores, but that's a small part of their business. They did own a tobacco company, which when they sold it, it made everybody in the ESOP millionaires. A lot of them quit. That can be a bad thing. But yeah, ESOPs, go talk to Kelly Fennell. He's, most of the companies he's helped become ESOPs were not grocery stores. Matter of fact, if you've got a business that is employing relatively professional folks, educated, not PhDs maybe, but MBAs, and which I don't have either.
Right.
But I think it might be a better plan.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for all that insight. Now we're going to open it up for some Q&A. Does anybody have any questions?
For the recorder. First of all, Kroger can't do what you do in service, in keeping their shelves full, and not having spoiled food. So
I know.
thank you. For those of us who were
You're welcome.
stuck, thank you. Other than an ESOP, you've done something that those of us in small businesses have begged every big business in this city to do, and that's to buy local. You were the first grocery store to really put into your shelves local products, and we thank you. That was a pivot for you, I think, or at least you gave small businesses a leg up and a chance. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because it's, I think, a boon for those of us in small businesses to look and say what you've done for many small businesses is just absolutely critical, and thank you.
Well, I consider us a small business, even though the Internal Revenue Service in 2012 told me we were being audited because we had just graduated to their large business division. I think if you got 10 million in assets, you're a large business. But I have an affinity for local businesses. I want them to do well, and you know, some of them don't have what it takes, and some of them do. So I think they all they need a chance, and I know Kroger can't respond to small local operators. You got to get big enough for Kroger to want to deal with you.
Once you decided to integrate this ESOP strategy into your company, how did you inform, educate, persuade your rank and file employees that this was a good idea?
Well, we went through some educational moments. We had meetings at all the stores, and we had multiple meetings at each store because we're not open 24/7, but we're operating 24/7. We've got crews in there working round the clock every day with the exception of Christmas Day. So, and that's only for about 12 hours. We had meetings. We explained it to them. Kelly, and he has he had one gentleman working with him, and I haven't talked to Kelly in a while. So, but he would come out and help to explain it. He gave us some handouts, printouts from a PowerPoint presentation that we could hand out to the employees and answer their questions. And we did that for the first several years. Now we quit because we weren't getting people to show up to the meetings. So we just talked to them. Every year they get a handout showing, what the ESOP, what their shares are and what they're worth, and they can compare that to where they were last year. So, as I said, mostly your key people, they like it, assuming you're growing.
Well, I have a question that builds on that. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay. So knowing that there are actually, I think, a spectrum of employee-owned models, I'm curious if you only looked at an ESOP or if you considered other models, and if so, why you chose the ESOP model.
Well, I'm not really aware of another model short of just giving employees, here, you got 5 shares, or I was well aware of the ESOPs. Like I said, the share group that we belong to, there were several ESOPs in it. Some are partially owned by ESOPs, some are wholly owned by ESOPs. For the most part, if you just hand your employee a bonus every year in cash, they'd be happier. I don't know what the number is because we don't give them an option. We pay 93% of our employees' health care cost, of their insurance cost. But I promise you, half of them would do without insurance if I'd give them the cash. So there, I mean, that's just human nature. We knew the ESOP could work. As I said, it's a combination of an exit plan for the current ownership and a plan to keep going forward with the company without selling it to Albertsons.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How many employees do you have total?
About 1,000.
And what percentage of those 1,000 actually have stock in the company?
%60. The grocery business runs a lot of part-timers, and we don't employ young people like we used to. I mean, it used to be every high school kid would go to the grocery store and bag groceries or check groceries. And, you know, the government just made it difficult to work them. Rules and regulations. You know, if you hire somebody 14 to 16 to be a bagger, and you're only going to work them 10, 12 hours a week, that's what they want. But if you work them, they can't work past 7 o'clock on a school night. If they clock out at 7:01, the Department of Labor is in your stuff. Violation. So.
Good afternoon, Mr. Stepherson. My name is Darlena Martin. I'm a 25-year educator, and I'm working on a mindfulness and literacy program to help our kids learn to read in Memphis. But my question is not centered around that. Whenever I walk into your store, I feel like I came home, the feeling of community. And I hear you saying that you all kind of intentionally did that with the employee ownership. What other ways have you intentionally created that feeling of community that I feel when I walk in your store? I'm telling you, my sister lives somewhere else. But for that sense of community, she drives across town
Well,
to
God
find
bless
a
her.
Supalo. Is that intentional? And if it is, how did you do that?
I think that we intentionally treated our employees with dignity. That's all I know to say is, and again, not wanting to talk bad about Kroger, they're a really well-run company, but they're also unionized, and they can't even talk to their employees hardly. You've got so many union rules. It's not a matter of pay rates, it's rules. And we're not a union company. And again, up until 2000, I was in the store working every day. I mean, I was running it, and if something went wrong, I was the one who stayed late. I came in on my days off. They saw me working, and they saw my partner Bob Reed working, and that's the culture that we built. They were our employees, but they were also our teammates. So, and I think I'm not sure how we did it, but we've successfully kept that going.
We live in Germantown, and my wife drives to Spotswood.
She's a smart lady.
Best fried chicken in the city.
Oh, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. We got time for one more question?
When it comes to scaling.
Hold on, we're gonna need to get it on camera.
I guess my main portion of it is when it comes to scaling and taking that next step when you're early on, first 5, 10 years, what portion of the business really needs to be fine-tuned, in your opinion, before you take that next step to really scaling and going to the next level?
I don't know that I have an answer for that. we did it for 10 years as a 30% ESOP. And as I said earlier, it's a combination of an exit plan and a continuation plan. And we don't give our shares to the ESOP. The ESOP buys them from us. So we had a 10-year loan. The 10-year loan was paid off. And we decided at that point we should go forward. And we initially thought 90%, and that way we could keep 10% and keep that finger in there. But because of the tax-free status of the ESOP, we went from being a C Corp to an S Corp. But if the company makes $5 million this year, and you own 500,000 of that 5 million because you own 10%. You're a sub-S corporation, so you have to pay tax on that 500,000 out of your personal tax return. So it's incumbent on the company to have a dividend to pay you for the taxes you owe on that 500,000. Well, can't pay a dividend to you and not pay a dividend to the ESOP. So, if it gave you a $150,000 dividend to pay that tax on that $500,000, and now you've got, 9 times 150, something over $1 million you have to dividend to the ESOP. ESOP doesn't really want that cash. The trustee doesn't want you to give that to the ESOP. They want you to pay. We have to pay the ESOP every year so that it can pay us. The corporation gives the ESOP, makes a contribution to the plan, like you would make a contribution to a 401k, and then the ESOP has money to turn around and buy the shares, make a payment on the note to you. So, as far as scaling it, once you get involved in it and you're ready and it's working, we just went with it. Seemed the thing to do. There have been moments I wished I still had a little piece, but only moments.
Wow. Well, thank you, Randy. Thank you for, you got one more?
Yeah, Chris Wilson, the duck lady with Aflac. I just have one question that some of you all, I hope, are thinking. This poor trustee has to vote for 600 people? You said the trustee votes the shares? I guess you all have worked out a way for the employee owners to tell the trustee person how to vote for them?
They can.
Is that a mess, or does it work?
They vote them in mass. They don't vote. They don't contact all the employees and say, how do you want to vote? And how do you want to vote? The trustee is in charge of handling that. And they're going to, I'm a member of the board of directors of Associated Wholesale Grocers in Kansas City. And they have an annual meeting once a year. And the only vote that you actually have as an owner is who are going to be the board of directors. So once you've got the board of directors set, the board runs the company through the president. It's the president's job to hire all of his staff.
Well, thank you. Thank you on behalf of my co-chair, the think tank, Patricia. You truly gave a master class on leadership, legacy, and love for your people. And thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Stepherson, thank you so much for your leadership and making Memphis greater as well. For everyone in the room, we do have a prize. So I will call out the winner, and it has been done digitally, thanks to technology. Steve Cantor. Steve, are you here? Okay, so we have a gift pack courtesy of the Memphis Showboat. So I'll get that to you. The next event, if you would just think about the May 8th event, May 9th event, rather, that's focusing on Mayor Young. It is full. However, we have a wait list, right, Tonja? Okay, so if you could go on the website, put your name on the wait list. If there are any individuals that cancel, we'll put you on there. Please check out our website, memphischamber.com, for all of our future events. At this point, I would like our co-chairs, if you have any lasting words, Meredith or Larry.
Make sure you go to Superlow this evening and for the rest of the week.
Absolutely.
And make sure these numbers skyrocket.
We got the best prices of wine in town.
There you go.
Awesome. So a survey comes at the end of every event that we have. We want to hear from you. Those of you who are business owners, if you all have anything going on with your business, we want to hear about your triumphs as well as your challenges. We want to know how we can best serve you. So we appreciate your time today. If you have not met someone new, do that before you leave. You have just a few moments to do that. Thank you, and we will see you at the next event.